How's it going, guys? Fernando, the Lone Star Halo, joined by Todd Fox, the one and only. And we are here on what's Memorial Day to talk about getting shit fucked by the Ohio shitfucks. All that and much more, including some check ins on some players on the rosters, coming next.
Hey, you are now listening or watching the Halos in the Infield podcast, sponsored in part by Noble L Works over on 1621 South Sinclair, where you can get discounts by just mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Drink discounts on us, baby. And also by 714 Tickets, 714 Tickets. The price you see is the price you get, and you also get 10% additionally off in the Apply Now code once you order your tickets just by mentioning HITI, Halos in the Infield. Now enjoy the show.
In the land of last shores, I play my part with the halos in the infield. I'll make my mark. I'm the Lone Star Halo, shining bright tonight. In a sea of rangers, I'll stand and fight with the halos in the outfield under stadium lights. From Texas to Anaheim, we'll soar to new heights. We'll soar to new heights.
How's it
Go
going,
ahead.
everybody? Hey, and welcome to this episode of Halos in the Infield. The Lone Star Halo. Of course, Todd Fox joining me for our weekly check-in as we talk Angels baseball. Now, before we get into any of that, I really want to talk about La Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of took place over the weekend. And before that, that's not me throwing shade at Todd. We're going to get into that. It wasn't his fault that it didn't fully take form. Todd, take it away. What happened this weekend for anyone who might not follow us or maybe was busy and they didn't get to see?
Well, the paper bags came out on Friday. So they did come out on Friday, and there were several in the stands. We had a lot of people, tagging it. It didn't go as far as we wanted to. So Saturday was going to be the day that was going to be the kickoff. Now, two things there was two outcomes to this story already. The number one thing would be like we got in successfully. We made our mark. We started a chant. We got the paper bags on TV. I was clowning around and everything went good. Angels lose.
Literally.
And, yeah. And we would literally have something to talk about. We would have, it would have gone viral at some point, but we never got in the door. The second thing that could have happened did happen. And that is someone watches someone, it's either someone watches that's higher up over there, Carpino's cronies or whatever, but someone definitely did tip them off and they knew I was coming. And they, I had a group of people with a bunch of stuff that was going to be able to get in, and they did bring in some of them, but I'll get to what happened to them later. But literally I'm stopped. I'm pulled over like, driving down the street with no, license plates, or I have tinted windows and the cop is just being petty. Those security guards searched me up and down and were like, you can't bring these paper bags in. They found the ones I had on me. They were like, you can't bring these thunder sticks in. You can't bring, the shirts. I'm like, all this stuff. I go, you know how much I brought into the stadium before? When I went with you last time, Fernando, we brought in bags and bags of thunder sticks and shirts. We brought them in.
I remember with the shirts, yes, we brought in like 3 or 4 bags. But if you remember the thunder sticks, we had to sneak in last time.
Yeah, the thunder sticks they didn't like the fact that we were doing the thunder sticks the first time, and those went successful. And so then the second time we went with you guys, they stopped us on that, but the shirts were fine, And so like I come in here and right away they were like, oh, the clown is here, he's got shirts. And so she waited for a second. She's like, nope, you're not allowed to bring any of this stuff in. And so I said, dude, I parked over by Noble, because I didn't want to pay Artie's dumbass $20. I told him that. I go, I want to pay for park for free. So they were like, well, you got to take it back. So I'm like, fuck you guys then. So I walked all the way over to Noble while everyone else went in. I said, hey, I'll be back. Don't worry about it. I'm going to take my stuff back. You guys at least got your stuff in there. Do your thing. When they went in there to try to pass those out, the ushers quickly said no. They were like, you can wear them in the stands, but you cannot walk around. We're not going to allow you to walk around with the paper bags.
Okay.
So,
and I get that to an extent. You know what I mean? Like, okay.
yeah. And then the sell the team shirts, they were like, don't wear those. It's like, what do you mean? We've seen those everywhere. And it's because it said sell the team Artie. And we had different variations and stuff like that. So they were trying to get them to cover up there. So they were dealing with their own shit as they walked in. So I walk all the way out, come all the way back as the clown with nothing else on me except a microphone because I want to start interviewing fans, getting the pulse of the fans when we're inside. I get back over there, and as I'm turning the corner, 2 security guards on bikes come up and say, hey, we're just letting you know right now, they're not going to let you in with a makeup, the jersey, or the shirt, or the wig. And I'm like, I've been in here several times as a clown. Why now is this a problem? I go, I'm not peddling the stuff that you told me to take away. I put it away. And they're all like, well, we can't let you in. I go, well, let me talk to the head of security. I go over there to talk to them. They gave me the same spiel. And then all of a sudden you see all those people that were working the metal detectors. They all come over to me like I have a knife or something. There's like 10 or 12 of them like around me like I'm going to do something, including 2 police officers who literally pull me aside from the security. And they're like, hey, man, we respect what you're doing. We don't like Artie either. And then I fist bumped them because I had talked with them prior. And they were like, but, you know, you got to respect what they don't want you on here. They've told us that they're not going to let you in. And I said, well, what if I take off my makeup and everything else like that? And they're all like, well, that's a maybe. I'm like, that's a maybe? You're still not going to let me in? So then, long story short, I told the 2 police officers, you know what, bro? I have no issues with you guys. I'm not going to give you any problems. I got mad love for you guys. Those a-holes, though, on the other hand, it's another story. I'm just going to walk. I go, trust me, I ain't going to start shit. I'm just going to walk back to Noble. And they're all like, hey, man, I'm really, really sorry. They were very apologetic. And they're all like, you know what you can do, though? If you want to get fans together, why don't you go on the sidewalks outside the stadiums? He can't tell you nothing there. Why don't you have banners there? Why don't you give away shirts there? You can do all that stuff.
Are you allowed to do something? So you can't be where, you know, the little diamond is on the outside, but the second you go past the balls, you know, the balls and balls,
Yeah.
Does that count? Or do you have to truly be like where Carl Strauss is, where like, you know, Hooters used to be?
Correct. You have to be at the very entrance way because, again, those guys who want to, like, say, for instance, for those, I forget what they are. Like, they're the, what is it called? The people that the Salvation Army people, they're able to go in there because that's a charity. They're not peddling anything. They're not selling anything. They're not protesting anything. That's on their ground. So Artie owns that whole thing. So he can basically tell us to kick rocks if he wants to. But if we're right in front of that big A over there, I think that's off Orange Thorpe or whatever, the main entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be right there with signs like honk if Artie sucks as they're coming in. You know,
Dude,
just
now that's an idea.
yeah,
I never thought about that. Hold a sign that says honk if you hate Artie Moreno.
Yep. And you could use his name in vain all you want, but you bring that shit on his property, walk a few feet towards those, you know, where they collect the money, then no, they could easily get you booted or more. So I took off and I went to Noble and I watched the game over there and a few fans showed up. Brian, I want to say thank you. He bought me a beer. I got a little toasted by everyone hooking me up with beers over there. So
who's this clown who's absolutely sloshed?
Yeah, I was the sad clown at the bar. I was just like, you know, make your joke now, you know, one of those things.
That's hilarious. A drunk clown walks into a bar.
Yeah.
Wearing an Angels jersey.
It's 69 in the back.
Stop me if you've heard this one before.
Yeah.
Dude, so, that's hilarious. I mean, it's the most. So here's the thing, because I saw a lot of people comment like, oh, hey, your First Amendment rights. Look, I don't want to get overly political, but we live in a society where like First Amendment rights, unfortunately, don't exist in like 60 or 70% of places. And here's why. You go to a mall and it's private property. You can't do and say whatever you want. You go to school, you go to work, and things like First Amendment rights don't exist anymore. And like, that's the unfortunate thing, right? You go to a stadium owned by Artie Moreno. So that's why it's like, it's a tough, you're walking a tightrope, right? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of people, I'm sure you saw the comments, and I heard you during the postgame show when you were like, well, hey guys, you know, I can't sue. First Amendment rights don't exactly exist at Angel Stadium, and it's true. You know what I mean? If Artie wants to be a crybaby about it, unfortunately, it's his stadium. he can be a crybaby about it. But like, what doesn't make sense to me, I've worn a Sell the Team shirt before. I've seen people wear Sell the Team shirts before, and it was never a problem. I wonder if the problem here is that now, like, you're truly the official face of this.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if, like, that's the difference now. Before that, we were just a pissed off podcast. But when, like, now there is truly something brewing online, there is a bunch of other podcasts and other Angels pages that have started to sell different sell shirts. And now there truly is something coming up. I wonder if that's what's the difference now.
That could be because, I mean, like, we've been the most outspoken. Like, other podcasts or other pages have started with a shirt, but they're not following up as far as, hey, this is important, we need to put the word out. And then you got the honks out there saying, oh, you're just trying to profit off of this. It's like, bro, we are not profiting on this.
Did you see that tweet?
Yeah. And it's
Randy, I appreciate Randy fighting the good fight on that with that one person. But
yeah, it's not a profit thing because, again, we're spending cash to get there, to get the product first, and then we're also spending cash to be in the stadium to, you know, advertise and everything else. So we're not even breaking even. So the thing is, like, we're trying to just get the word out because we're tired, we're frustrated. I mean, and that's what I hate about our fan base, Fernando, the most is I hate the goddamn honks. I hate the fact that, again, you can have the best examples or the best takes on certain things, and that should just be elementary to everybody and something you would think that everyone would be on board. Instead, you still have honks that are still fighting a good fight for Artie Moreno when Artie is giving nothing back to them. You know, and again, we touched on, and I know you don't want to get into it, but I'm going to say it, like, again, I asked for help from a certain podcast, got nothing back. You know what I mean? Like, and I never gotten a commitment either. Like, and they're one of the biggest ones out there that can make a difference. So apparently it is just white noise to people that want to be honks and just not ruffle feathers, but none of these pods are being paid except the Trent Rush Show by AM 830 and our boy, I was going to say Walt Disney, but I wish it was Walt Disney, but no, Artie Moreno. So, like,
I don't see a Dollar General version of Walt Disney.
He is
a family dollar version.
I'm just saying, bro, I don't see the want to still kiss butt or to be connected with Artie Moreno in any way, because I would look at it this way. If we're not given access to Angel players, so be it, because of our stance. If everyone other podcasts would put their, you know, shade aside and be like, okay, well, we're not going to get access to players. When do they actually do give us access to players on all these other podcasts? They really don't. So if we're not going to be interested in interviewing their players because we're mad at the owner, again, that's another way we could change policies and how they would want to be like, hey, we need to get more press or we need to get more coverage for our team. And they would actually want to be friends with us instead of keeping us as outcasts. Let us voice our opinions or at least answer our questions.
Look, we don't really talk too much about, at least to the audience, what goes on behind the scenes. And I mean, you and I have been front running this along with James and, you know, Andrew for about 4 years now. We've obviously had other people join, you know, Joe, Rob, James Malo, just to name a few.
Yeah.
You know, the list really goes on. And, you know, for the bigger part of that, you know, Courtney was part of it too. You know, we had other people like Swilly. Anyway, there is a long list of people who we've had and people who have joined, like the Dominics of the world. But the fact of the matter is this. When we started this, you know, we still didn't really know what the trajectory of Angels baseball was. And it started with like, hey, man, let's just do a bunch of interviews. And there was a good reason why for the longest time we were the only podcast providing the amount of interviews that we were. Literally, what other podcast, even to this day, has interviewed more people than we have in the 4-year stretch we've done this? Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, maybe even like Trent Rush, like there's a chance we might have even beat him. You know what I mean? Because the beginning, man, we were literally doing like 10, 15 interviews, like the first, you know, a year at first. Mm-hmm. But obviously now we don't interview people as much as we used to, and I think it's pretty obvious as to why. We've never had the team be a direct vessel for us. They've never wanted to help us, and that's fine. They offered a peace offering once when you and James Gonzalez, I believe, right, went to Angel Stadium, sat in that
Correct.
press room with Cox in the outfield and the Super Halo Bros, and that other podcast. I was just happy to be there. Um, there was a couple, but
Yeah.
anyway, Hannah from the PR department. Oh, is that her name? Who's still there, by the way? If you're watching, how's it going, homegirl? Let me know. We'll go get a cannoli together or whatever the fuck we might get sponsored by next. Spicy wings on me, baby cakes.
There you go.
Anyway, I digress. My point is, we've never had the organization to officially help us. I think that sweet thing was maybe meant to be a peace offering, and maybe they were like, hey, they're going to change their tune. But what we've never wanted to be was be a bunch of homers. Hey, and when this team is good, like last year, they started off hot. We were kissing butts. Hey, you and I, we have some honk inside of us. Of course we do. We're fans. You and I have admitted that years ago, we were Halo honks. I was a Halo honk. You were a Halo honk. I used to love listening to Roger Lodge because like 10 years ago, it was funny. 10 years ago, like it wasn't as much filler because there was stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The show wasn't terrible. So we can certainly be honks. We have that inside of us, but we do have an audience, and you and I and the rest of this Halos in the Infield team and umbrella believe that we owe it to the fans to call it down the middle. I see the comments all the time that we're just a bunch of haters. We're not real fans. Guys, if we weren't real Angels fans, there's no way in hell that Todd and I and the rest of this team would be shelling out thousands of dollars a year, losing thousands of dollars a year, losing even more money doing charity events for, let's face it, nothing besides the fact that we like making our audience and the community happy. Literally. Yeah. Todd, what do you and I get out of this? Let's be honest. We get a genuine friendship between you and the staff, and we've made friends in our community. But once you take that away, the community aspect of it, what do you and I get out of this?
It's nothing financial. Like you said, like I think some of the greatest things we've gotten out of this, like you said, is the friends from the fans. We've established relationships. We know what goes on in their personal lives because they're so cool. We've gotten sponsors and stuff like that, and that's nice. It's all well and good, but like you said, nothing from the Angel side except a swag bag, and then there was never a callback, nothing else like that. And again, to go to your
table, by the way, there's nothing good in there.
Yeah. And see, the thing is too, Fernando, like going back to what you said, I think the whole filler thing, that show's always sucked with Roger Lodge, in my opinion. And I think the thing is, that was the only place to go to at the time, your 08s through, I think that's when he started, was 08 or 07, one of the two. But he started like something like 15 years ago. And, you had the Angels in their prime when he started. They still had a very good team, very good organization, already hadn't stripped it down yet, and from the inside. And, you, like you said, you had things to talk about. You had players that were dominant. The team was on a roll. Socha was there, and baseball was fun, so you're not focusing on the negativity. Now, let's just talk about this for a second, Fernando. Say if the Angels were good and we were like where the Royals are at right now, just where the Royals are at, or maybe we're just a few games under that and we're right. That puts us in first place either way. Let's just say we're close to 30 wins right now and we're doing good. Do you think for a second, me and you are focusing on golden dongs and we're focusing on guys that they're picking up off the street and how bad this organization is? It's like, no, we're on a come up. We're feeling good about ourselves. Let's talk about how the team is doing with runners in scoring position. Hey, this guy's on the come up from the minor leagues. Everything would not be all roses. I get it, but we would be more positive than negative. But last question, Fernando, for me on this subject is, how can we be positive when we're approaching a decade of under 500 baseball and we still have, like you said, no direction and no light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, it's crazy. that this team has been so bad for so long. Because, I mean, think about where we were 10 years ago, right? Literally 10 years ago, we were the best team in baseball during the regular season. And in 2014, there was a pretty good amount of hope, right? The minor league system wasn't seemingly completely stripped yet. We knew that it wasn't going to be good. The writing was certainly on the wall, but guys like Garrett Richards had just come up and started establishing themselves. Matt Shoemaker almost won Rookie of the Year. So, like, there was certainly pieces there where we were like, hey, like, this isn't too bad just yet. Like, for me, the writing was really on the wall after like the 2017 season. And to an extent, 2018 even, because we had just got Ohtani. He just won Rookie of the Year. So that was kind of when it was like, okay, maybe we can salvage this. And ever since then, it's just been bad, 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 bad. We've never really had even a stretch of like 2 or 3 good weeks of straight baseball since we've done this podcast.
Yeah.
You and I would love to not be sitting here talking about Willie Calhoun and what he's packing. Seriously, like who on earth had that on their bingo card for this season? We knew this season wasn't going to be amazing, but we didn't think it was going to be that bad. Dude, Guillermo, dude, that guy's mom doesn't know who that. I don't even know his first name. Listen, like, I'm not even trying to be funny. What's his first name?
I don't know. I just know Guillermo. So
yeah, it's just like I don't know, dude. Like this team's so bad. Did you even remember Brandon Drury's on this team? I mean, he's hurt, but like, did you remember?
He hasn't played like he's been on the team. You know, he's been hurt. The only thing that I know that I want to. There's only one question. If you were to tell me what's the one question you would ask Brandon Drury if you had him in an interview, it'd be like, why do you play Gangster Party? I mean, you do not look anywhere gangster, first off, as your theme song. And second, like, you don't have a personality. How is it all about a gangster party? Like, I don't get that. Like, shouldn't he have like a country song or something?
Yeah, right. Shouldn't you come out to like, God, who was that guy that just played on Saturday?
Oh, Kip Moore. Hey, Kip Moore's playing.
Yeah, no, Trent Rush. I know he's a big Kip Moore guy. I listened to his interview he did with Mike Trout and Griffin Canning. By the way, did you guys listening know that Trent Rush has rebranded his podcast? Here's my thing, okay? This guy gets paid to do interviews. You want to talk about one of the worst people in the industry at interviews? It's this guy. He's like, hey, Todd. So tell me about your favorite type of beer. Todd, where do you like getting beer?
Hey, I like it at Noble.
You like OGs? You know, like in the middle of like you answering, he's like, hey, let's change the topic.
Yeah.
Hey, do you like going to Disneyland with your kid? And then you'll be like, yeah, I want to Disneyland. Anyway, how about Knott's Berry Farm? How do you feel about Knott's, huh? And then you start talking about Knott's. Do you like Applebee's? How about Fridays? Huh? I like Fridays, huh? How about don't turn it right to Fridays? It's just, I don't get it with Trent Rush, man.
Yeah, he's terrible, but he's another bootlicking house man that I believe he was only put in that podcast form and paid probably more to do more shows to drown us out, to drown other podcasts out, because I think they want to establish that #1 podcast, and they're starting to see even the Locked On crew is negative at times. You know, they can't have that. So yeah. Trent Rush is going to try to steal, because look at Locked On is big and they get good advertising. But what better advertising to have than AM 830 to promote your podcast? Because the majority of Angel fans listen via that, or it's even on Bally's. So he gets all the love. You know what I mean? He could be terrible, and they're all like, hey, listen to Trent Rush.
Yeah, I think the problem now for the Angels is like the amount of podcasts is quickly dwindling.
Mm-hmm.
And even the amount of like active accounts is dwindling quickly. There is not a lot of active like Angels accounts like there used to be.
Yep.
I mean, you've got Angel Central, you know, and Top Plays. Those are kind of like the biggest in terms of like audience size. And after that, you get to like truly like people our size. You know what I mean? Like there's a big disconnection there.
There is.
So like that's my whole thing. And like almost all of them are quickly going negative. Like you said, Locked On, you know, they're very realistic, and I will give the boys credit for that. They definitely have their time where their honks are out, but they also are critical of the team, and I can appreciate that. I'm okay with that. I can live with that. I just found out today that Talking Halo still exists. What? What?
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had no idea they still knew what microphones were. Um, so, and I don't really hate their product. They're fine. I'm not one of those podcast people who are like, we can't talk about other Angels podcasts. You know what, dude? Like, you and I have always been on the same page. Like, there's enough ears to go around here. Trust me, we all eat.
Yeah.
Nobody is starving.
And if you want to know what bourbon or whiskey or whatever, vodka or whatever is great, then just tune into angelswin.com because that's the majority of what they talk about. So
Yeah, that's fair. They better hope Rick Rojas doesn't leave.
yeah. Yeah. Who are those two guys with him again?
That's all I can say about Angels Win. I think the last time I listened to their episode was like when Artie said he wasn't going to sell.
Yeah, I wanted to hear the spin on that, and they didn't have too much to offer. But getting back to what you were saying, though, real quick, I just want to jump on this one. I want to be a Trent Rush. In 2015 was the last winning season this team has had, 85 and 77. 2016, 74 and 88, 80 and 82, back-to-back years in 17 and 18, 72 and 90 and 19. That should have been the rebuild year right there. Then we had COVID, 26 and 34. Then you had 2021, 77 and 85, 73 and 89 in 2022. And then 2023, we're like, you know what? Let's do it again. Run it back, 73 and 89 again. And then this year, we're already 13 games under 500. So you had a stretch of 2004 to 2016 of 2017 of 3 million fans. Actually, no, let's go 2004 to 2018. So 14 years of 3 million fans. 19, boy, why am I missing this right here? Let's start over. 04 to 19 was 3 million fans. We haven't had close to 3 million since. Obviously, COVID doesn't count, but you had, and then 2021 was affected by it, but 2.5 under in 2022, 2023. 2.5, and this year we're off to 726,000 already. But the reason why I bring that up is there's a failure and a disconnect here with fans, and this team has just been on a downward spiral with really no game plan. And with our podcast being who we are, we want to invoke change. And a lot of people think, well, you can't get the owner to sell. Yes, we understand that. But if enough attention is brought to the platform, maybe other people start to raise their eyebrows, ask questions, and maybe change can happen through negativity or fans actually voicing their opinion, like what's going on in Chicago. Obviously, Oakland's out of hand going to Vegas, but places like Miami are starting to voice their opinion. So why can't we do that?
Oh, sorry.
I'm just saying.
I was going to say, if you want a reason as to why Artie Moreno is the worst owner in baseball, think about this for a second, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Oakland A's fans sell shirts, they sell flags, they do sell chants, and it's funny how none of that gets censored in any way, shape, or form. But you try to wear a shirt that says "Sell the Team Artie," and you can't go in with that. Like, what? Oakland A's fans can be bitterly honest. And the ownership's kind of like, whatever. They just kind of turn a blind eye to it. But you know what? There's valor in that. At least they're able to kind of like face their hater. You know what I mean? Because, hell, they don't care. It's like whatever coming to the stadium. Artie Moreno is such a narcissist that he's not even okay with somebody wearing a T-shirt in. I mean, you're going to buy food in there. You're going to buy drinks in there for your kids, for your girl, begrudgingly, sure. Because you don't want Artie to make money, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still happening. Who cares, dude? A paying customer is a paying customer. They don't boo nobodies. Like, Artie has to understand that too. Like, dude, you're seriously so thin-skinned that you're not okay with people booing you? Think about this. To your point, we're not going to be able to get them to sell the team. Sure, we're never going to do that. But we want them to know that we're here, and clearly they do. Think about it, guys. Artie Moreno got booed when he was on Calling All Angels. John Carpino immediately says, hey, we need to remove Artie Moreno's face from Calling All Angels. He can't get booed. That's what happened. Literally the very next day, he's no longer in Calling All Angels. Guys, this isn't a coincidence.
Yep.
This was on purpose. It was a John Carpino calculated move. That is what I'm saying. So if Artie Moreno isn't going to sell the team, that's fine, but let's make him uncomfortable to own the team. Like, the only thing that I will never do is, like, I'm not going to go out of my way to get banned from the stadium because I do love this team. I do love this organization. I don't want to get banned from the stadium. I will never dream of telling people to not come to games. You know what? At the end of the day, I love baseball so much that if my options are go and see the Angels get obliterated by their opponent and get swept by Ohio, or be home, I'd much rather be at the stadium watching the team lose because I love baseball. I love this team, and so does Todd, and so does his staff. We want this organization to get well again, and they are the farthest thing away from well. They are sick. They are frail. It's not getting better anytime soon.
Yeah, that's true. And that's the thing that, like, if you go back a couple of years, even with when Jim brought a Tyler Skaggs jersey, and he sits, like, you know, in a section that has an area where you can put the jerseys over the side, like kind of hang them like
Is
signs.
that what the old bullpen used to be?
Yeah. And so again, it's not on the bullpen, but it's above it, and you could put the jerseys there, right? This dude's a season ticket holder forever, right? And he doesn't have a sign up there that says "Rest in Peace, Skaggs." He doesn't have something that may be offensive to somebody. He doesn't have. It's a mother effing jersey. 45 Skaggs, and he had another jersey right there, 2 other Angel jerseys. There was no kind of, no underlining thing, nothing to try to just get on camera. He just put them there, right? They come down, security says you have to remove those can't be there from the higher ups. All of a sudden, like, he complains, he knows people in higher places. Carpino himself comes down and says, "Hey, I apologize, blah, 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 but, with everything going on, we can't have that up there." And then I guess he went above him and got that. Then they were like, I don't know who was above Carpino, but someone told Carpino that that's okay. He's not trying to make a statement towards the family of Skaggs versus Moreno. He's just putting that jersey up there because it was around Skaggs' death, the anniversary. So it's like, man, again, more times than not, we're having these egotistical, frail-skinned type of moments by Artie Moreno where he can't handle stuff like this. And it just goes to show you that if you're not going to be that type of owner, or if you're going to be this type of owner, we want change. Like, let your people run the franchise, put more money into it, show us that you care. Because obviously it's like we were talking at the stadium, Fernando. If you lived back here in California, what's making you go to an Angel game other than the love of the game and the team? What's the attraction? Do we have a power hitter? Do we have a power pitcher? Do we even have an exciting closer? What do we have?
Yeah, I mean, we have the Angel Strike Force girls. Woo! Here's a t-shirt. Ta ta ta. You know what I mean? Like, and they're not even going to be able to use the cannons much longer. So, what's up with that? Those days aren't going to be around much longer. I don't know, man. I don't know. And like that's the real tough thing, because in almost every other era of Angels baseball, there was something around the corner. There was a glimmer of hope. I mean, even over the last couple of years, right? It was, hey, Trout, Rendon, and Ohtani just need to be healthy together. Even like during the span of this podcast, even we were saying that, you know what I mean? Or, hey, Neto is around the corner. He'll be up here soon. Kai Bush, he'll be up here soon. And now it's just what's left. I mean, Dana's doing great with the Trash Pandas. Okay, cool. Maybe he's up here next year if all goes well, if he doesn't get traded for Hunter Renfroe again. Hey, let's get Jesse Chavez back, guys.
Yeah, we need him back for a third time.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing to cheer for. And the ironic thing is, if the Angels were complete sellers at the trade deadline, I would be even more excited, because it was, hey, sorry guys, I know you guys don't want to go through this, but we're trading Ward, we're trading, Detmers, we're trading Sandoval. We are really, really scrapping this. The only guys that we're not touching are, Ohapi, Neto, and Shanuel. Everybody else, we are shopping. Rengifo, you're a great player. Sorry, we got to let you go. I can live with that, and I'd be excited for that, because it'd be like, oh, hey, Finally, we have something to play for, something to watch. Then it really is, hey, just bring Dana up, whatever, who cares? We're going to suck for 2 years anyway. I can cheer for that. But yeah, it's tough. I don't know what positive is around the corner. And it's funny, we haven't even talked about the Ohio series. You know what? At the end of the day, Todd, I don't think there's much to talk about. We got swept by Ohio. Surprise, surprise. We can't beat them. They are the 2000s era Yankees.
Well, it's like I brought up the other day when the Angels were playing them on the post game. I literally know Ramirez and the Naylor brothers. That's it. The other guys, Bieber's hurt. They've got, but the thing is, as much as I throw shade on them, as far as an organization, what they decided to change their name and whatnot, put that aside for a second. I have to say that I am really digging what they're doing as an organization, because they're doing it with only players that the fans would know that are loving the team. They know their bullpen is really good. They know that the players on the bullpen, they know that they've got the right kind of bench players. Their starting players aren't household names, but they get the job done. And this is a team put together. It's coached good. They're doing an excellent job out there. Got one of the best records in baseball. And they took it to us. They took us to the woodshed. And the problem is, I think a lot of honks, like you said before we started the show, well, hey, we only lost a couple 1-run games to them. It's like, yeah, that's the problem. I think Angel fans feel too, is like, that's a good team over there, just like Baltimore and other teams that we faced this year that we hung in there with, but we don't have enough runners in scoring position. We're right now 26th in the league with runners in scoring position. The only teams that are worse than us are Miami, Chicago, and Oakland, and Colorado. And what do those teams have in common? They all suck. And when you can't win at home, you're also 6-19. It doesn't matter what you're doing, as a team. I mean, we just can't win at home. Couple that with the other, all the injuries and stuff. And no, this isn't, hey, when we get Trout back in Rendon, those are like free agents. No, they're just coming off the injured list. They're still part of the squad.
Yeah, neither of those guys have a timetable right now. So
yeah, and then we're waiting on Sano and possibly Stefanik coming up here, which is, I'm waiting for those two guys because at least they make contact.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy is it that we're right now? We're not even sniffing the All-Star break.
Yep.
We're waiting for guys like, forget Trout and Rendon, like you said. I mean, Miguel Sano is something we're excited for again.
Yep.
Chase Silseth, like, oh God, bring that guy back, please. You know what I mean? Michael Stefanik. There's a lot of these guys. I mean, dare I say Brandon Drury again.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see who gets displaced once that happens. When Trout does come back, assuming he does, what are you going to do with Kevin Pillar?
Yeah, and Kevin Pillar has been our most steady guy in the month of May as far as, getting RBI singles. His average is way up.
What about Willie Calhoun? Because he's been DHing a lot. So, I mean, in my opinion, when Trout gets back, the guy should not be sniffing the field as a fielder. He really shouldn't. Honestly, his days of primarily being a fielder might be coming to an end because he keeps getting hurt. It might be time for him to just DH. We don't have number 17 anymore, so just DH him.
Unless he decides to lose some weight and slim down. I mean, he obviously still can stay muscular, but dude I think his body frame is too big for him not to be, because he keeps getting hurt, keeps tearing muscles, keeps weird shit happen. So,
or is it time to maybe stick him at first base? Look what the Phillies did with Bryce Harper. Hey, you're a first baseman now, bro.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to go too.
There's just first base is a bigger problem.
Yeah, but this team has just got a lot of holes in it. And briefly to sum up the series was, hey, they got pounded. Sandoval. I mean, that's the first game I've been to in person. I've seen it on TV a bunch of times, but I've never been to a game where the home team or the opposing team hits back-to-back home runs. That was pretty crazy. Sandoval gives up 2, and then Suarez is like, check this out. And then the very next pitch.
I went to a game in 2019 where I think it was Listella, Ohtani, and Trout hit back-to-back home runs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was interesting. That was Tommy Listella.
remember, Fernando, how bent out of shape me and you were when we traded Listella? Like,
Yeah.
that was a guy that we were like, dude, he fit this team good. And damn.
Yeah. Luckily, he didn't really go off to do much after we traded him. Where did he go? Oakland?
Yeah, he went to Oakland and then he went somewhere else, and then his career was basically over. But
Seattle?
maybe been a Dipoto pickup. But I just remember that he was almost an all-star, and then he got hurt right before.
I think he technically made it.
Yeah.
He was there and his like little crutches.
Yeah. Yeah, that was sad, dude. He was having such a really good season for us, but yeah, it's just so frustrating to watch this team. And then so they got blasted in game 1, game 2 where I got kicked out or couldn't enter. They were down 4-0, got a 3-run homer by Ward and did absolutely nothing the rest of the game. Lost it that way. Then they on Sunday, Simber didn't have it. The freaking the shitfuck scored a 3 spot, I believe, after the Angels had just tied it with a 2-run homer by dude. And then they rallied for 2, but then with, again, runners in scoring position, batting .212 for the year, the Angels had multiple opportunities and couldn't get one in to even tie it, and they lost. And despite Joe Adell making a great catch, he's 1 for his last 21 too, so his averages come down.
You would think that by now teams would realize to not throw the ball low to Matt Dice. The guy has the same swing path every single time.
Yep.
The guy does not adjust ever.
Yeah, he's like, swing. Yeah, he's all, swing low and watch it fly, baby.
Yeah, exactly. So real quick, I know you primarily because of your fiance have been a bit of what you might call a Joe Adell hater. Where are you right now on Joe Adell? He's batting like what, 237, I believe. It's somewhere in that zone. He's got about 10 home runs. His defense lately has been pretty decent as of late. Kept us in that game in Texas. I think in the last like 2 weeks he's robbed what, 2 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
So his defense is very, very serviceable right now. Are you excited? Do you like what you've seen so far out of Joe Adell? Do you at least think the kid should be getting some opportunities here?
I think, again, the Angels did him disservice by not starting him. The Hicks experiment was so stupid. But he has maintained his offensive, capabilities. I just think I was really starting to get excited, Fernando, because his defense was turning around. He's thrown a couple guys out at bases. But the thing that's worried me is he's gotten back into the home run want to swing, like if it's not there, swing for the fences. It's like, no, dude, make that contact like you were doing earlier in the season. That's why your average was up. Now, I think he can be a 270 hitter, but he's just really out there flailing sometimes. He's still working walks, so I'll give him that. But he's still striking out too much. He had the hat trick on Sunday, and it's like, man, come on, dude, like you're better than this. And he's I feel he's right there, but he just needs a little bit more time and fine tuning. But we'll have to see. I would love for this guy to be the guy.
Yeah. So right now, the tough question is going to be this. So in a world where Trout comes back within the next, I say 2 or 3 weeks, then it truly becomes what now? Honestly, I think the organization is probably going to cut. So they have to cut someone. You can't cut Adell. You can't cut Moniak without them, potentially clearing through waivers because you can't option them. So the natural answer is probably get rid of Pilar. Now, I wouldn't be upset if they get rid of Pilar if they trade him for something. If he's still hot and you can get 1 or 2 prospects for him and trade him to a team who maybe by then has an outfielder that goes down. I don't know if there's a team with an outfield hole. Maybe it's a team like the Padres who, maybe they're kind of on the cusp. And you can dump him to get one guy. I'd be okay with that. I can live with that. Because you're in a situation where Adell needs to continue to get at bats because you really need to see what you have out of him. Because if at the end of this year, Joe Adell doesn't have at least 500 at bats, release him or trade him for literally peanuts, pay a salary, even though I know he's not getting much. because the Angels have done this guy enough of a disservice. Because he has proven that with consistent at bats, he does tend to heat up. I'm with you. I'd like to see a little bit more out of him as a contact guy, but he needs to work that out. That's the benefit right now of him getting consistent at bats in the major leagues. We get to see him adjust, because that's how you find out if a guy can make it here or not. Anybody can get hot in Major League Baseball for a stretch of time, because we've seen guys who might not be super talented get hot for a short period of time. The Linsanity effect, is that what Kevin Pillar's on right now? Maybe. We saw that with Eric Young Jr. in 2017. We've seen these guys get hot. But that doesn't change the fact that he needs to prove that he belongs or doesn't belong to the show. So Joe Adell needs those at-bats, but so does Mickey Moniak. Because I asked the question yesterday, the question of the day, hey, should Mickey Moniak stick around? And there's a lot of people in the comments saying, hey, this guy just needs that consistent playing time and he's going to be fine. The problem is you have Ward. So because of that, you can't give Moniak and Adell and Pillar consistent playing time. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's not like he's a first baseman or you can move him around. And you got a problem there, too, because Shonowell's starting to hit pretty good at first base. He's getting his average up. Neto's starting to get his average up. So, again, you're going to have to make some decisions. And we're a guy where, a team where you can usually have patience with a guy like Moniak, you've got 3 or 4 other guys who are inconsistent in that lineup to where you can't afford a routine 0 for 4. And so the at-bats he does get, I believe, when it comes to your question of the day, I think, if there's another roster spot that comes up and you got someone that's hitting better, Moniak might have to just eat the dust, man. You might have to just release him, DFA him, and see if he can re-sign back into AAA Salt Lake, because he's a guy that, again, he has potential, but he's still showing the same tendencies he did from before he got hot last year. And then ending last year, which was just swing all or nothing. You're always down 0-2, and you're not making solid contact. If you do, it's just even the last hit that he got was an excuse me bunt to the left side where he beat it out, where it was like hit to no man's land because it kind of had a sort of shift on him. So he hasn't had much solid success at all. And I feel for the guy. It's not like I don't like him. It's just, man, it's like if you're giving us routine outs, man, I'm of the type of that just says, hey, man, next man up. Can the next man, is he better than you? And if he is, well, I'm sorry, bro, but you got to hit the bench.
Yeah, so we're going to have to see what happens here, because it's funny. We went from not having any depth to we're still not going to have depth. But the difference is that now we're not going to have guys in the minors either, because you're going to have to waive someone or trade someone. So that's why I've said before, like, we're in a situation where we really are in a no man's land, because this isn't a rebuild. Stop saying it is, people. This isn't a retool. Stop saying it's not. This is not a playoff team. There's no tweak here that's going to make this a playoff team. And the thing that makes it very, very tough is you have almost no direction to go, because you've used Adell as a bench piece before, and now you can't because he doesn't have any options left.
Yep.
Obviously, the Phillies did that with Moniak, which is why he doesn't have any options left, which is why we got him from the Phillies.
Yeah, the Phillies were like, well, we're done with this guy. You deal with him. And, there's been some times we're looking at him and we're like, okay, there's 16 home runs. I forget how many RBIs he had. Decent year. Can he re-emulate that again? Can he get his batting average?
But that's not the player he is, remember?
Yeah, apparently. So, I mean.
You can pause that and take it all the way to the bank.
It's just tough, bro. It's been a real like last year was a tough season. Obviously, we were waiting for Nevin to get the axe. He didn't get the axe to the end of the season. And now we're on a year where Ron's got to really just play with a bunch of toys that are not all there, or he doesn't have the weapons he should have, and he's just trying to make the best out of it. And I see the good and bad that Ron's brought. I haven't agreed with everything that he's done, but for the majority of the parts, the way he is with the players, I love that. And I know the players want to play hard for him, but when you don't have the depth, like you said, and you don't have the talent via injury or just free agency or trades, whether it's the minors or major league roster, you can only do so much. I mean, these players can have the best intentions. The coachings can have the best intentions. But when you're getting screwed by the owner, the training staff, the free agency, everything, it's like, man, what did we expect?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, nothing has gone our way for the better part of this decade. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It hasn't. We haven't really had a lot of free agents pan out. We haven't had too many draft picks come and continuously pan out. You can say what you want about like, hey, Neto, Shanuel, Ohapi wasn't a prospect. We traded for him. But the point is, those guys, none of those guys have come up and just been, Mike Trout of 2012. They haven't taken the world by storm. They've had their struggles. They've taken their bumps, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying like those guys haven't fully, done what they were supposed to do. Like you said, the front office in any capacity, it just there's not a lot to cheer for right now, and that's the thing that makes supporting this organization very, very, very tough.
I like how you brought that full circle because, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, just the fact that, as you started this show off saying that we've tried to be a positive, podcast since we've been here. And just since the year we got involved, the Angels have not been good. And they're continually on that trend of just still not being that good with no direction. So like you said, I don't think I could sum it up any better than you just did right there. I mean, we're just where we're at, and hopefully, I mean, we get to have that halo honk hopefulness that things will change. But, for right now, we have to call a spade, and this is what the team is. And if people don't like it, there's AM 830 all you want, man.
Hey, there's also those Locked On postcasts.
He's giving Halo Haven a run for his money. I'll just say that.
I've tried to listen to them. I think I've made it through about 2 or 3 minutes every time.
Yeah, he's terrible. It's terrible. So I'll say
it's a little stale. I will admit that. There's certainly some other Angels podcasts I can't listen to. I mean, hey, I'm what you would call a locked on everydayer. I enjoy what the Halo Bros do in terms of their content. I think it's fine. I hate listening to Trent Rush probably every one out of every 5 episodes you'll put out, maybe 2 out of 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll listen to those, but after that, I can't consume a lot of Angel stuff. There isn't too much left, and what is out there isn't that good.
What if Big 20 had a post-game show? Would it be better than that guy? And would you listen to it?
Say what you want. At least Big 20 is charismatic.
That's true.
You can say what you want about his baseball takes or whatever, or maybe him. Oh, yeah. At least, the guy oozes charisma. The guy has a personality, right? All our audience like to give him a hard time, but people laugh every time he calls.
Yeah.
The guy has, as the kids say, W Riz. Just hasn't been able to translate it just yet. So, have you heard yet how his prom went?
No, actually, because I think the night I was gonna come on, I had issues here at the studio, so okay. I'm waiting to see how the prom went.
Have we seen him post? Is he still alive?
Yeah, I think he still made it. The Shirley Temples didn't affect him that much. So.
Okay, good, man, good. Because I don't want anything to happen at 20. I mean, I don't know what would happen. I've seen the guy dance before. Sometimes he'll go live and be doing his little dances in his room, his little Running Man and whatever else. I've seen. I want to hear if this guy got down at prom. I'm sure he did.
And see, this is the other thing. What other podcast actually refollows their followers or checks them out? When they make a difference on the show, we check out these people. We make friends with them and like their stuff. I don't see any of the other podcasts doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly, they just say they're like, we love our audience. Well, we're here to watch you dance in your bedroom for a minute.
When you go live, we're there.
Yeah, exactly. We try. We try to be pillars in the community. What can I say?
There you go. They give to us, we give right back. So
exactly. But some things coming your way, potential new sponsors. We'll have hopefully some more news on that. Hopefully you guys like spicy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, spicy takes.
We'll have more on that for sure.
Exactly, and hopefully. So you guys, did anyone get a tattoo at the tattoo thing at Noble?
Yeah, there were that were Angel fans. I don't think so. You had a bunch of there was a metal show, some like what's it called? A band from Holland or somewhere over there in close to Germany. That's never over here in the States, and they were actually over here. So you saw a lot of metal heads. So it was an interesting group at Noble. It was half metal heads and half Angel fans. So and a clown.
Did any metalheads take a photo with Halo Hug?
No, but but one of them goes, "Oh my God, you look so weird," and I'm like, coming from you, that's a compliment because she was in fishnet stockings, like piercings everywhere, and tattoos all up and down. She looked like a newspaper, so I was like, "Wow, you're one to talk, girl."
For anybody who dresses like that on the show, we love you.
Exactly.
We appreciate it. That's funny. Yeah, I was telling my girlfriend that if I was there, I would have gotten a Halos in the Infield tattoo.
There you go. I shit. If I wasn't so depressed, I would have gotten something. But
I think you would have been too drunk.
yeah. I don't want to make the decision drunk. That's for sure.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. Part of me says that we should all get a Halos in the Infield tattoo. I think.
Yeah. Well, that means we'd have to be lifers, man. Because you don't want to get on the we don't want to have some part timers be like, yeah, let me get a tattoo. Oh, 2 years later.
Welcome to the Locked On Podcast Network, where we have our Halos and Infield tattoos. My name's the Lone Star Halo here. This is Todd Fox. We sold out here. We sold our souls.
Yeah.
By the way, thank you to eBay Motors.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my Hyundai Elantra. My Hyundai Elantra needed a new subwoofer. I needed my neighbors to know from 6 miles away that I was coming.
Yeah. Hey, I tell you about that smash jack.
Yeah. Can you imagine a parallel universe where you and I were to get hired by AMA 30?
Oh my goodness.
But next, a message from Hyundai.
Yeah, I will tell you this. In a parallel universe, I'd have no beard, I'd have glasses and a full head of hair, and I'd be like, hey guys, I can't wait for Angels baseball. I know we've lost 9 in a row, but those are the best 9 losses we've had all season. They look really good. I'm telling you, they're going to turn the corner today. Get your tickets.
Yeah. Dude, gosh, can you imagine a world where I'm like, hey, welcome to I wouldn't be the Lone Star Halo.
Oh, that's right. You'd be here in Anaheim.
Yeah, welcome to Fernando in the morning. We're here to talk about how great it is to be an Angels fan. By the way, head on over to McDonald's Acatella, say hi to Griffin Canning, and let him know that you want your coffee at kids' temperature today.
Let Patrick Sandoval know in the drive-thru that game time is at 7. Don't be late.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to lose that job.
Oh man, the life of an Angels fan.
Yeah, it's great. Nothing's better than like trying to force myself to stay awake to watch a game like in the 7th inning. It's like 11 o'clock at night. We're losing 4-2.
Yeah. I mean, when it's one thing. Like I would say this, when we had a good lineup, say for instance, your Guerreros, your Juan Riveras, your Orlando Cabreras, Torrey Hunter, whatever, right? You have a good lineup like that can hit Eric Ibars. If you're down 4-2, you're like, oh man, we got this, dude. We're gonna put together a rally, score some runs. We're gonna tie this game at least, and possibly win it in extras or whatever like that. Now it's like you get to extra innings, you're like, well, let's see how we're gonna fuck this up. And then if you're down, maybe with that roster, they're down 7-2. You're like, hey, we still have a chance. And it's the 5th inning. We got 4 more innings to go. If the Angels are down 4-1 and it's the 5th inning, you're like, it's not looking good.
Dude, honestly, even if we're up like 4-3, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's the sad part. Like I'm not even trying to be funny. Like right now, dude, so the game that I went with my girlfriend when it went to the 13th inning, like every inning we kept going in extras. Like I wasn't confident. You know what I mean? I was like, dude, we are gonna lose this game. Because there was nobody in the lineup where it was like, hey, we have a chance here. Like nobody, Zach Neto is sometimes good at putting the ball in the gap, but like he wasn't doing well with running scoring position that game because he had him. The only guy who maybe makes you a little like, okay, hey, like at least he might get a single here is like Taylor Ward.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he might get a single because at that point Pilar was on the bench.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
we
like, there's really nobody right now in this lineup that like strikes fear in your heart. So
Yeah, we got into extra innings. It's like they stopped doing anything consistent. It was like, hey, swing for the fences, or let's not, one inning, let's try to move the runner over. The next inning, let's not, so I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
if
So
you
if you
listen
got any,
to our random ass episode, there was no cohesion today.
no structure on this one, no bullet points. We just went off the cuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was not the point.
But I think we got our point across though. Even though we didn't have the right kind of points out there, we got it established. I hope everyone was able to enjoy the show. I think it was a good episode.
Yeah. Good episode for sure. Make sure you give us a follow on all of our social medias, like, comment, subscribe. If there's ever a topic, because right now we're kind of at the state of Angels baseball where we don't really want to talk about what's happening on the field. Let's be honest. We will touch on it. But if you guys have anything you guys want us to talk about, let's just say, hey, I want you guys to do an episode on Orlando Cabrera and why he was such an underrated infielder. Great. Let us know. At this point, I think Todd and I won't talk about anything else. So seriously.
No, I agree, because you know how they say it's Christmas in July and everyone's like, like that. Like, this feels like Angels baseball in August, this early, late August. Yeah. It's we're running out of things to talk about because, again, the no hope. Obviously people are like, oh, don't be down on them. They're 8.5 games out. Yeah, they're 8.5 games out of the wild card as well. I mean, it's too early for this crap, but this is where we're at.
We were like moderately a decent team. Just a shred of a little bit better. Could you imagine that we'd actually still kind of be in the race? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the sad part. Even like last year's Angels team would probably be in first place. They didn't fall apart till like later. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the deadline they still had a chance.
Yeah, they were still right there. So I mean, you could think if this team was just 500 right now, we're only like 3 games out of first.
Yeah, so it makes me wonder, like, what if last year's roster, like, let's just say Ohtani would have been a free agent after this year. Like, you push everything back 1 year. Like, I wonder if this team is playing differently because Trout hadn't gotten hurt yet. I mean, Rendon got hurt on 4th of July also, or at least like the 3rd of July, whatever it was. Ohtani didn't get hurt till like later in the year. So my point is, like, if last year's team, it played out the same way, except it was happening this year with, like, the other teams in the division struggling, the Angels would arguably be a first-place team because the division is not playing well right now.
No, it's not. It's very, very, very mediocre right now. So, I don't know what else to say.
Good rest of your day, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you again, and we will see you next time.